Hey everybody, welcome back to Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home. Well, how about this? Some Italians, a Brit, some race cars, a rearing horse, and some figs. What could it be? We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to Barber Dave's Barbershop, and as always, don't forget, today's shave is brought to you by Nurse Dave's Shaving World. That's it. Go check him out. And speaking of that, www.theshavingcadre.com. Please come and visit us. We'd certainly appreciate it. And if you'd be so kind, excuse me, click on the barber pole with the cowboy hat. That'll get you subscribed to the channel, and we'd certainly appreciate it. Okay, what are we going to do today? Well, we'll go over that in a bit. We're going to do a straight shave today. This one is the newest soap in the line of one of the Italians. And if you saw my picture or my title page, you saw who that was. Also, as I said, please don't forget to check out all the folks in the descriptor section. Those are channels that support the cadre, and just really good channels all the way around. As far as application of the soap, meaning the body of the soap and how it feels on the face, this is probably one of their best. The fragrance is floral, woody, and a little bit figgy. You can kind of smell that fig note in the soap itself, but it goes on beautifully. It will take on a lot of water. And although not my favorite fragrance from this place, it's got a really, really nice face feel. A little bit of a step up, I think. Well, from their previous iterations. So that's one of the Italians. The other Italian is kind of an Italian-inspired item. And that's right, that's the Jerry Stark 7/8 Spanish point Ferrari concept. And if you notice, the screws for the scales are wheels, and this has got the look and feel of a Ferrari concept car that came out a few years ago. So, and carbon fiber scales. It's been a while since I've shaved with this razor. Primarily because it's a chopper, for sure. I mean, it looks more like a Chinese cleaver. And that French point, or that Spanish point rather, can be a little intimidating. But more than that, you look, the spine is super thick on this, and it's got a pretty pronounced thumb notch. So stropping this thing is not the easiest. And it is a quarter hollow for those keeping score. The main thing with this razor, like any other ones that have a pronounced tip, such as the Chevalier or some others, is that you really have to have very good spatial orientation. In other words, you need to know where that tip is at all times, no matter where it is on your face, or it could end in disaster. For instance, like if I'm doing my lip and I blow up my lip on this side, my cheek blows up a little bit more than my lip. So if I'm like this and I blow my cheek up, that can dig in. And this has given me a pretty good reminder of that. So personally, I do not recommend any Spanish points, knife edge points, French points, even your standard square point. I don't recommend for the beginner, because you've got enough to worry about when learning how to straight shave than wondering where that point's going to be at all times. So to me, a 5/8 round tip razor of any brand is the best overall beginning razor. And they're fun to have around because, you know, they're just nice. I mean, you could go as far as 6/8, but I think 5/8 is the perfect beginning arena for a razor, especially in a round tip. Because if not, because you're still learning how to navigate around your face with a straight razor. You know, what parts of your face to blow up and shallow out and stretch. And it's just not conducive. And probably the biggest areas that we see cuts with points like this are in here and right around the earlobe. And as I've said before, the consistent thing is keeping your wrist locked. And all the movement basically coming through your shoulder. And I should say that this was run across the convex balsa. And then 60 on leather. And also when you're around the nose area, that's when this can be, you know, the Spanish point can be a benefit and it can be a detriment, because when you're coming around your nostril area, you could pull a Jack Nicholson from Chinatown. So you just want to be extremely careful on that. And again, just know where that point is, where that tip is at all times. So far, so good. The Murado, which is the soap from Sappada Fuccio Veracino, has got a very nice fragrance. I would say it's one of their stronger, because that's the one complaint that most people get out of SV, is that it's very fleeting. But let's face it, it's all natural products, mostly Italian fragrance profiles, and those are citrusy, and they don't last very long. This one is the exception. Again, not my favorite of the bunch, but as far as face feel and soap performance, it is the best one of their line, I think. I only have the soap because I was a tester for the soap before it came out. I do not have the aftershave. I've got a couple other things that will work for that. Again, another reason why you want to make sure that your wrist is locked and you're coming from your shoulder, you can see the pivot right here, is because when you're doing across the grain, or in my case, against the grain, you want to keep that blade at a consistent plane. And you don't want to angle it. Now, if you start bringing your wrist into it, the pitch and the yaw changes, and that point will dig in. Now, there are many folks that mute their points. I don't, because I use the point quite often. Now, that has its downfalls as well, especially like right in here. I cannot tell you how many times I've caught my ear. That's why another big key is, as you're learning to straight shave, make absolutely sure that you've mapped your face. All the way, you know, the way the whiskers grow, the contours of your face, whether you've gained weight, whether you've lost weight, all that is going to be a big factor, especially when you get into these big boys, as far as the points. And I guess I should preface this, if you do mute your points, that's okay. It's your razor and your shave. I just find that I use the, you know, a lot of people say, oh, you only use the first third of the back third of the razor. I use the whole thing. Another thing I do when I'm using my fool's pass is I'll hold the blade like this, but I will actually press these 4 fingers together, and that just gives it completely stability. And then once again, I use my shoulders as the pivot point. Beautiful DSBBS show. That razor is wonderful. It's sad that Jerry is no longer producing razors. And those of you that watch my channel see that I do have a few, 3 or 4. Okay, we'll do some cleanup. It's funny with this razor, this is the most intimidating part, because when I'm doing my buffing, I do break the wrist, but I keep this part of my forearm solid. And that's where the point can look for you. There we go. There we go. So we'll go over and review everything that we've used here in just a few seconds. Also, I had somebody ask me in one of my videos whether it be a badge or a synthetic to hang the brush upside down. It's your brush. A lot of brush manufacturers will recommend it because obviously if you store it like this while it's wet, the water will go down into the glue bump. I think if the brush is constructed correctly, it's hair. Even in the synthetic. Do you turn your dog upside down when you wash him? Do you turn yourself upside down? No, you don't. It's going to dry. The best thing I can say is, rinse it out real well, shake the brush out, do this and you're fine. You don't need to hang the brush upside down and repeat the magical rune mantra 4 times so your brush is in good shape. It's all hype. And to me, if a brush manufacturer says to hang the brush upside down, that tells me that the items that he may or may not be using to glue the knot in may not be the best of waterproof epoxies. 2, how well is that knot tied? But that's just me. No alum sting at all. We're going to be using Quinn's Lavender. Oh, I guess in the intro I should have said an Aussie too, because Quinn's is made in Australia. I guess I should have said that. We'll let that dry down a little bit while we go over everything. Okay, today for the razor, once again, the Jerry Stark 6/8 Ferrari Concept. With a Spanish point and, like I said, a very thick razor, carbon fiber scales with the red. And like I said, the wheels, as far as the screws are concerned, this was a custom razor that I had to make based on the Ferrari. I can't remember which one it was. It's now a production vehicle, but at the time it was a kit or a concept car. For the brush today, we used the Matte DeRuyter Concept F1. Again, this was based on an F1 car and carbon fiber, and this has been reknotted with an AMAX tuxedo. It had a Wolf Whiskers Badger in it, and it just wasn't doing it, so I reknotted it to that, and I think it actually looks better. Okay, so there are some of your Italians, and then, of course, SV Morato. Very, very nice soap. So there are your Italians for the first part. Now we have our Brit. That's right, Floris 89. And the reason why I chose this, excuse me 1 minute, is because it has a very nice, warm, woody sandalwood, not sandalwood, more of a guaiac wood, nutmeg, and some fig. I notice, and I don't think that's actually in the note profile, but it goes really well with the EDT or the EDP that I'll be using. And it's Floris. I mean, come on. And I need to clarify something. One of my good buddies, Brian Scuttlesoap, said that I had bailed on Penhaligons. I never said that. I like Floris's breadth of scents because they stay consistent. They bring out a few, but just limited. Penhaligons, as of late, I think is trying to come back with High Grove and maybe with Sports Car Club, but some of their absolute best ones ever, Bayolea, Blenheim Bouquet you can still get, but some of their really, really beautiful fragrance, and most importantly, English Fern, yes, this one, they no longer make. And their shaving side of things, they used to have brushes, they used to have things, their shaving side of things has gone away, and they don't have shaving soaps anymore. They have shaving creams, I believe. And that's what I mean. I still love Penhaligons. It's a wonderful house. I still have 2 full shelves full of Penhaligons. Probably got more Penhaligons than most. But Floris just keeps things more consistent. So I just wanted to clarify that because apparently Brian doesn't listen. Just joking. Anyhow, so Floris 89 for the aftershave. Now, you'd think, because I'm Mr. Matchy Matchy, that I would be using the Floris 89 for the EDP. No. That's where the stallion, the rearing stallion comes in, and I'm sure you can figure out what that is already. For the talc today, we're using Yardley, which one? Yardley Classic. And this is literally a classic talc scent. A little bit cologne-y. But in a good way, warm. It's a perfect match if you're using any type of fig or sandalwood or anything like that. Okay, so the rearing stallion right here. And yes, Ferrari kind of goes with everything else. This is Ferrari Noble Fig. Now, I had never tried a fig-based EDP before, and I wasn't sure what to expect. But this stuff is incredible, and it matches perfectly with the Floris. If I could get the aftershave of this, but I've never heard of it. And this, once again, was a gift from Brian Scuttlesoap. Okay, folks, that's it for our shave for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you learned something about straight razors, that's great. If not, once again, come see us at The Shaving Cadre, www.theshavingcadre.com. I'm Barber Dave. This has been Barber Dave's Barbershop at Home, and I hope everybody has an absolutely 100% great Monday. Take care.